My name is Sesethu Moni, and I'm a millennial. They always say that a woman never tells her age. Honestly, I think it's me being strong and knowing what I want, and obviously being able to acknowledge and be mindful of what is going on around me. But at the same time, I don't want depression to rule me. I don't want depression to define who I am. I want to fight this, and obviously I want other people not to feel sympathy or feel ashamed about it. So basically, I'm strong because I want the next person to be strong as well. But me being strong makes me feel good, even makes my days even more better because I'm not showing how I feel inside. Honestly, I'm strong on the public, on the outside. I'm in a process of healing, and obviously I've been admitted to the hospital, and that made me to realize a lot of stuff about me and obviously change a little bit from the person that I was. I've been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and social disorder because I've always, as you can see my hands right now, I keep on doing this because I'm anxious, but obviously I'm mindful now about this. And before I didn't know that I was depressed, but I had the symptoms. I would go through my Facebook or online and actually notice that these things that people are talking about are happening to me, but I was just ignorant. I was like, nah, not me. But I kept on keeping it to myself and just cry myself to sleep because I felt like no one will believe me anyway, because I felt like growing up when I was trying to voice out things that were bothering me, no one would actually believe me. So I was like, what ifs? So until I actually wanted to commit suicide because I was so tired. I was so tired of living. I was so tired of pretending to be happy anymore. I just wanted an easy way out, and that was committing suicide. And then I overdosed myself because I felt like if I die, then I would rest, everything will be just fine. But unfortunately, I didn't die. Unfortunately, because it's something that I wanted at that time. I just wanted to die. I just realized that life is great. It's just that at that time, that's what I wanted. That was basically my escape boat because that's what I wanted. So I don't want to die now because I just realized that there are people like you who are willing to listen to my story and actually encouraging me to speak about this. Since November last year, the 19th, because that's when I was admitted to the Psychiatric Hospital. So ever since then, I've been taking my meds. I'm still taking them, seeing my doctor every month because he wants to see the progress. Every Tuesday, I go to the tags, which normally you guys would call them sessions, because they want to do the follow-ups on how you're doing and what has been bothering you and stuff like that. So I'm currently in the healing process and obviously pushing myself because we are told not to depend on meds. We need to help meds so that we can heal and stuff like that. I do it because I wasn't sleeping before. I would be up the whole night and my mind is just all over the place. My brain is just doing things that I can't even tell what's going on, but I wouldn't sleep until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I push myself to come to work, and obviously I would push myself to work. Basically, work, school, anything that keeps me busy was my coping mechanism. I just wanted to be busy so that I can ignore my feelings. I'm not gonna be on these meds forever because I believe, and I was told by my psychiatrist, therapist, and occupational therapist at where I was admitted, that this is temporary. This is not permanent. So I think I'm gonna be on these meds for 6 months. Hence, I'm seeing my doctor every month so that he can see the progress and decide whether we cut or we increase and so on and so forth. That's why I was like, I need to also not to depend on medication, but help it so that I can heal. As much as I'm educated, I would say, because I'm a graduate, but I felt like I was crazy. Maybe I'm not gonna be normal anymore. I'm gonna be in this hospital forever. Like, I'm gonna drink pills all the time. Like, I can't really tell how I felt, but it was that moment where I was like, okay, whoa, what's happening? But at the same time, I was just scared. I was scared of the journey. I was scared of everything because I wasn't even sure that gonna get the support or people around me will even understand this thing that is called depression. I never really had friends. Like, I would see on social media that people are celebrating 10 years or whatever, but I grew up being told that I have siblings, therefore you don't need friends, like stuff like that. And I've been an indoor person, so I think I was depressed, but I didn't know. And obviously my father was very strict. And you know, when you grow up, you are told that certain things you need to do them in a certain way and stuff like that. So I didn't have friends. Even at varsity, like, I struggled to like have someone whom I call my bestie. Like, I always had trust issues around people. So I think it started at a young age maybe, but I only realize it now. And yeah, if I'm feeling bad, I'll just cry myself to sleep, because even my siblings wouldn't understand me. Like, even now they don't understand the person that I am. They always say that I'm moody because I wasn't voicing out. I couldn't like tell how I felt. Like, I couldn't recognize my feelings. So I would just cry myself to sleep or just keep quiet, and they would say, there she goes again, moody, blah, blah, blah. So having both my parents, because they were married and they were encouraging us about education, that is very important. And like, I didn't have fun. I didn't have friends. Not that I needed them, but I didn't have fun like other children. Like, I didn't experience stuff. Not that I wanted to. Like, being a child and just growing up and making mistakes if needs be. But I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I was never given that chance. Even my classmates would say, you act like you're old and stuff like that, because that's how I was brought up. Like, you don't need friends, you have your siblings, and I'm the last born. So yeah, growing up, like, my father was this strict person, but a cultural person as well. So he liked to help people out, especially my cousins, his brothers' children and stuff like that. So they mentioned something about being grateful to him and showing gratitude by actually furthering my studies. Therefore, I moved to them in Bloemfontein, with them in Bloemfontein, to further my studies. And I was so excited because I'm starting a new journey and maybe I'm gonna make friends. I don't know, like, it was a happy moment for me. Like, I was promised heaven and earth that I'm gonna study it in the boarding school, like private schools and stuff like that. So it was a promising future for me. So that's why I was so excited. But it turned out to be something else, especially after my father passed away in 2008. Like, they started treating me differently. And my other cousin, who had a wife, like, when I was coming to Cape Town to visit my dad, because he was sick and he was here in Cape Town, so they told me, like, to spend the night with them, like him and her wife, because they're gonna miss me, because I'm going to Cape Town. And I was just so happy because their room has TV and heater, so it was nice. And I was a child, like I didn't think of other stuff. But at night, like he took my hand and I hold his penis, and I didn't know how to react on that. I was so shocked. Then I waked up and slept on the other side of the bed. And when we woke up, his wife asked me, why you not where you slept? Because I was in the middle. But I couldn't explain. I couldn't tell, like I didn't know how to say it. I was like, no, I wanted to watch TV. Then obviously I was coming to Cape Town to visit my father, so I went. But when I came back, I felt like I'm not safe anymore. Like even when the sister-in-law is working night shift or going out, I'll tell her that, can I please go to your mother's place rather to be left with my cousin. And then my cousin would want hugs, want me to hug him because I'm leaving, I'm going to my sister-in-law's mother and stuff like that. But the way he acted, it was different. Like he would hug me and then kiss me, but when he kissed me, he comes with my lower lip. So even those things, like I didn't know how to react on them, but I was scared to be left with him. But I didn't know who to share the story with, because every time like he's planning to do something or something naughty, like they would call my mom and tell her that I'm naughty because I'm a teenager now and stuff like that. So I had no one to actually listen to the side of my story. My mom and my sibling would just shout at me, why are you not listening? You there to study and stuff like that. So it was a very sad moment for me because I couldn't explain and no one was willing to listen to what I had to say. So I moved from the cousin who has a wife to the other cousin because he was like, no, I want you to come stay with me. Life is gonna be better and stuff like that. But things got worse. Like at night, he would come to my bed, like touch my boobs and my vagina. Like I wasn't sleeping, but I was just praying that, oh God, help me. Like I don't know whether to scream and who's gonna hear me and who's gonna believe me. What is happening? And then it happened like every night. And then the other day, like when he came from work, he was like, did you eat? I was like, no, I'm good. And he started beating me up. And then he told me that he was overprotective of me. He would take my phone and say that, what's this word? I forgot it. So basically, he would do stuff. He treated me like his wife, because he would say, I know at a certain time you at work, you at school, and during lunchtime he would call me. Like I wouldn't get a chance to actually chat with my classmates or stuff like that because he's on the phone. He wants to know what I'm doing, what I'm eating, what did I buy, how's the school, how's until the lunch break is off. And then so he kept on doing that stuff, and then he beat me up when I refused to eat, and then he locked me in the room in the whole house, and then left me. So I cried myself to sleep as I normally do, because I didn't know who to call, because I know no one will believe me, or like I don't know what's happening. Like I couldn't put it into words, like what is going on to my life. Am I cast for being here? Like what's happening? And then when he came back, he came with police. And then obviously he told the police that I'm not listening, I'm naughty. And then the police were like, why are you not listening? You're here to study. I was like, okay. Then I took off my pajamas and I was like, then what do you say now? And I had bruise all over. And that's when he was shocked. He started calling the pastor, because we were going to church every Sunday. So he started calling the pastor that Sesethu is not listening here. Please come over. And then the pastor was like, give her the phone. And then when he gave me the phone, the pastor was like, calm down, what's going on? Come to church, obviously in the mission, because that's where his house is and the church. So I went there. And the police were like, are you sure you want to speak to the pastor, or you want to speak to the female police? So I was like, no, the pastor, because I trusted the pastor. I mean, he always preach at church. We go to church every time, and God is good all the time. So, you know, I trusted him, and then I went there. I was crying from 1 until 5 in the morning. I couldn't speak. So I told him what happened, and he was like, he's gonna call them. And he called them in front of me and asked them, and they didn't deny anything. They actually said, yeah, we did it because we wanted to see if she's not lesbian. I was like, even if I was lesbian, I'm still your sister. So they were like, no, we thought she was lesbian and stuff like that. And the pastor was like, but do you know if she did tell the female police, you'd be arrested for sexual harassment? And they were like, yeah, we know. We wanted to prove like this. They were busy saying this thing of being a lesbian because I don't go out, but it didn't make sense to me. But the pastor was like, okay, you're gonna stay in the mission for quite some time for counseling and stuff like that. So I stayed there, but the pastor started asking me that, am I still a virgin? And I was like, yeah, I am. And he was like, so didn't you want to feel what they were trying to do to you? So I was like, what? And I was like, no. Again, I was like, no, I'm not safe here. I moved from church and left some of my clothes and went to some people whom I knew there. And I was like, can I please have a place to stay because I don't feel safe. When I was like, my childhood is beginning, I'm actually happy, and this family is actually welcoming me with love. Later that day, the pastor and the cousin came over, and they were obviously telling that family that you don't even know this child, or we can report you to police. So that family couldn't help me. They were like, oh, okay. They were just packing my bags, and my mom on the phone was shouting, who are those people? Do you even know them? Like, what are you doing? Do you want me to have heart attack? Like, I was like, okay. I don't know what to say now, because I'm not given a chance to actually explain and tell my story. I'm always shouted that, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Because they've already called my mom that I'm this naughty child who doesn't listen. So instead of going back to the mission, I went back to the cousin who has a wife. So later on, I saw the messages because the wife was using his phone. So I was like, I want to send a message. Then I went to the send. I know I wasn't supposed to do that, but I was just curious since I wanted to delete the message that I've sent. So I saw the messages, my cousin speaking to the pastor that, you know how crazy she is, don't believe her and stuff like that. I was like, what's going on here? Like, we had this conversation where they were not denying anything, and then there's these messages that I'm crazy. Like, who's on my side? That's when I was like, trust issues again. I'm not believing anyone anymore. Like, I don't know who to confine to, so I'd rather keep everything that is going on to myself. So when in December, I was coming to Cape Town again from Bloemfontein. So I knew that there were some of my clothes that I left at the pastor's house. So I wanted to collect them. And then he asked me why did you leave here? And I was like, I just want my clothes. And he was like, if you're not gonna answer my question, then you better leave. And I was like, yes, I'm gonna leave your house, but can I please have my clothes? And then he started beating me, like I was crying in the mission. Started beating me. Then I called the sister-in-law because now we were in good terms. And then she was like, run to the police station. I went there. The police were so shocked that it's the pastor that beated me that way. So we went to the hospital for evidence and stuff to show where I've been hurt and stuff like that. We opened the case. Then I moved to Cape Town. The case was supposed to be in court on the 9th of January in 2011. But since then, when I was trying to go back to Bloemfontein, like we couldn't get hold of the detective that was running my case. And I didn't feel safe going back to Bloemfontein. So I looked for a school here, I started here. So I think I've been depressed, but I wasn't aware, I wasn't educated about this. So this has been going on to my life, but it's time to stop now because I've been controlled by this, by not voicing out how I feel and by not telling people like this is what is going on to my life. Please help me. Like I've been keeping everything to myself so that I can just look good in front of people. And as a last one and as a child, you don't have a say. The other one was born in 1981 and the other one was born in 1983. So they were working, like the other one has a wife and a child. The wife didn't know until we got along because what he would do, like when we were watching TV together, he would call his wife to the room. Like he didn't want us to get along because he knew that once we close, then maybe I'll have someone to confide in. So every time I'm spending time with his wife, he's gonna be like, even if we're watching the show Generations, he'd be like, come to the room, like trying to separate us by all means. She was like shocked. She just told me that I'm here for you now, but I didn't feel that because she promised me that we're gonna stay together, she's gonna protect me and stuff like that, but she didn't follow up with the case since she was the one that was in Bloemfontein now, updating me of what is going on because she also had a camera to actually take the clips of my bruises. But she failed me and disappointed me because I was trying to trust her, to have someone that at least I know you believe in me and you believe my story and stuff like that. So she disappointed me. I had this thing of that I have a problem, but I don't know what it is. So I kept on saying that I need to see a professional person. Like I feel like I still need to speak to people because I spoke to my siblings, but it was just a story. Nothing was done. Like I was so angry about that. So I went to this psychologist 2017. It's 2019 now, right? Yeah, 2017. But she just told me about forgiveness. I was like, that's not what I want to hear. I want justice. So I just had one session with that psychologist and I was like, no. But then I decided to contact my other cousins and ask for their contact details, and I sent them messages that I forgive you. Even the wife, I sent the message that just be careful because now you have a baby girl. Maybe she might go through what I've been through. So I forgive you, all of you, and they never responded. Not that I wanted the response, but yeah, I have forgiven them. I would love to get a job maybe in Joburg, new environment, new me.